Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive.
Always. What have we got today?
Today, we're heading into some seriously spooky territory with whispers in the fog.
Ooh, that sounds appropriately creepy.
Yeah, just wait, it gets even creepier. So picture this. A town called Black Hollow, always, and I mean always, covered in this thick fog. And get this, people keep disappearing.
Okay, yeah, I'm hooked already. Vanishing people and perpetual fog, that's classic horror setup.
Exactly. It plays on that fear of the unknown, right? You can't see what's coming for you. Anyway, we're following this investigative journalist, Elena Carter, and then later a super skeptical sheriff, Mark Holloway, as they try to figure out what's going on.
I'm guessing the fog plays a pretty big role.
Oh yeah, it's practically a character itself.
Right.
But first, let's focus on Elena and her investigation. She shows up in Black Hollow determined to crack this case, but what I find really interesting is the townspeople.
What about them? They giving her any leads?
It's not what they're saying, it's what they're not saying. They're so tight-lipped, it's like they've just accepted these disappearances as part of life. Don't you think that's weird?
Weird. It's terrifying. I mean, come on, people are vanishing into thin air.
Right. Like, shouldn't they be freaking out?
Yeah.
Demanding answers? But it's almost like they're too scared to even talk about it.
I guess it makes sense in a way. If you live in a place where people just vanish without trace, maybe you learn to just not think about it, out of sight, out of mind.
Self-preservation, right? But Elena, she's not buying it. So she decides to do what any good journalist would do. Head straight into the fog to find some answers.
Uh-oh, I have a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, it doesn't go well. As she's walking through this thick fog, she starts hearing things. These faint whispers, voices warning her, telling her to turn back.
I'd be out of there so fast.
Oh yeah, me too. Those whispers are so unsettling. I mean, in horror, sound can be just as effective as anything visual. You don't know what's making the sound, where it's coming from. It just messes with your head. And that's exactly what's happening to Elena. She's trying to figure out, are these real voices? Are they the missing people trying to reach out? Or is it something worse? But she keeps going, and then she sees it.
Tell me she didn't see one of those missing people just wandering around in the fog.
No, not that. She sees a figure, this shadowy, like almost human-shaped figure. And it's tall, really tall and gaunt, moving kind of like it's floating.
Okay, now that is terrifying. It's like the fog itself is taking shape.
And remember, this is right after the whispers intensify, so it's like they're connected somehow, right?
Oh,
The whispers and this
yeah.
thing. But Lena, she doesn't run. She's drawn to it. Like she has to know what it is.
Oh no, that never ends well in these stories.
Nope. So the figure, it starts moving closer. And as it gets closer, the fog kind of parts, just for a second. And Elena gets a glimpse of its face. Well, sort of a face.
What do you mean, sort of?
There's no features, really. It's
Okay.
described as this hollow void where its eyes should be, and this huge, gaping mouth stretched open in a silent scream.
Okay, that is seriously disturbing. It's like a corrupted reflection of a human face. Just the thought of it sends shivers down my spine.
Yeah, it's nightmare fuel, for sure.
Mm.
But it gets worse. Before everything goes black for Elena, she sees flashes of the other missing people, trapped within the fog. It's like they're being absorbed by it, becoming part of it.
And the fog is the thing, right? Like, it's not just some random weather phenomenon. It's the source of the horror.
Exactly. And then she hears a whisper, clear as day, right before she disappears. Now you belong to the fog.
Chilling. Absolutely chilling. It confirms what we were afraid of, that there's no escaping the fog once it takes you.
And that's where we leave Elena? Vanished.
So, what happens next? Who ventures into the fog after her?
Well, that's where things get even more interesting, but we'll have to save that for part 2 of this deep dive. So we left Elena, vanished into the fog, and now, the next morning, her car turns up.
Abandoned, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, right on the edge of town. And everything's still inside, her stuff I mean, but her voice recorder, that's out on the ground.
That can't be good. Is there anything on it?
Mostly just static, which, is creepy enough in this situation, but then right at the end, you hear Elena's voice. Just this desperate, help me.
Oh, man. That's rough.
Yeah.
Knowing what we know now that she's gone.
It's like proof, It's not just a missing person anymore. Something really bad happened to her in that fog.
Yeah, it's not just some, spooky story that townspeople tell to scare kids. This is real. And it's terrifying.
So this is where Detective Mark Holloway comes in,
Yeah.
the skeptical sheriff I mentioned.
Oh, right. The one who thinks it's all just a bunch of hocus pocus.
Yeah, well, even HE can't ignore this.
Yeah.
Not with Elena's things turning up like that and then that recording. What do you think? Do you think it actually makes him a believer, or is he just doing his job, following the evidence?
I mean, he's got to be at least a little bit spooked, right? Hearing that recording, anyone would be.
You'd think so. But here's the thing. He decides to go into the fog
Yep.
himself.
Wait, what? Seriously, after everything that's happened,
Yep. Just grabs a flashlight and his own voice recorder and walks right in.
that's, I don't know, is that brave? Stupid. A little of both.
Probably.
Eh.
But I think maybe. He has to know, Like something in him just can't let it go.
It's like he's tempting fate, walking right into the lion's den. But yeah, I get it. Some mysteries you just gotta face head on, even if it scares the heck out of you.
Exactly. So he's in the fog now, and it's thick. Can't see more than a few feet in front of him. And then he starts hearing those whispers.
Oh no, not the whispers again.
But this time, it's different. He thinks he hears Elena's voice in there, amongst the others.
No way. Are you serious? That's messed up.
Yeah, like the fog is messing with his head, using her voice against him.
Talk about psychological warfare. That's just cruel, even for a spooky fog monster.
And he keeps going deeper. Right. He's got to know if it's really her.
Hmm.
And that's when he sees this figure, way off in the distance.
Another one, like the one Elena saw.
Yeah, but this one, at first, he thinks it is Elena. It's about the right size, the way it's moving. But then it gets closer, and he realizes, this is not her.
What do you mean? What's different about this one?
It's hard to explain. It's still shadowy, and the fog's swirling around it.
Right.
But her eyes, it says they're just these dark hollows, like empty.
Mm-hmm.
And her mouth, it's open, but not like she's screaming, more like she
Yeah.
can't close it.
Creepy, like a broken doll or something.
And the whispers keep going, but now they're coming from, like, all around him.
Mm-hmm.
From the fog itself, and then from this figure. Like, he can't tell what's real anymore.
Man, this fog is messing with him bad. I wouldn't be able to tell which way was up at this point.
The figure tells him to leave, says he doesn't let anyone go. And then, from behind this figure, another one appears.
Yeah.
Bigger.
Yeah.
Like, huge EE.
Wait, there's more than one of these things?
Yeah, and this one, it's completely covered in fog. You can't see it at all. Just this massive shape looming over him.
Oh, man. That's just straight up nightmare fuel. It's like the first one is just a puppet.
He panics, right? He fires his the figure.
He brought a
Yeah, remember, he's the sheriff. But it does nothing. The bullet just vanishes into the fog. Like it was never even there.
Okay, that settles it. Guns are useless against spooky fog monsters. Noted.
And before he can even react, something grabs him, pulls him into the fog. And the last thing he sees is that figure, the one that looked like Elena, reaching for him.
Oh, no, not him too. Does he make it out? Does anyone make it out of this fog?
So that's it for Mark, huh? Another one gone.
Yeah, it's not looking good for anyone who gets caught in that fog.
And the next morning, same thing. His car is found abandoned on the outskirts of town, just like Elena's. The cycle continues, the fog takes another victim, and we're left with even more questions than answers. But there is one last piece of the puzzle, one final clue, the voice recorder.
Oh, man, I bet there's something creepy on that thing.
It's just static for the longest time, just white noise. And then this whisper comes through. Don't follow us. That's all it says. Just don't follow us. I mean, how can you not get chills hearing that?
That's pretty bone-chilling. It's like their last message from wherever they are now. Trapped in that fog, lost forever.
It's almost like a warning, like they're trying to tell anyone who's still alive to stay away from the fog, to not even try to find them.
Yeah, I mean, what else could it be? They're gone, but something about them is still there in the fog. And it doesn't want company.
So we started with Elena, this fearless journalist, heading into the fog looking for answers. And then we had Mark, the skeptical sheriff, pulled in after her. And now they're both gone, vanished.
Taken by the fog, leaving only those chilling whispers behind. It's a pretty bleak ending, don't you think?
Bleak, but effective. Whispers in the fog doesn't really give us any concrete answers about what's going on in Black Hollow. We don't know what the entity is, where it came from, why it takes people. And I think that's what makes it so scary, right? It leaves it up to our imagination to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, the unknown is always scarier than something you can see and understand. The not knowing, that's what really gets under your skin and stays with you.
It makes you think twice about ever going out in the fog again, that's for sure.
You got that right. I'm going to be checking the weather report religiously from now on. No fog for me, thanks.
So, what do you think? What lurks within the fog of Black Hollow? Is it a malevolent force, a supernatural entity, or something we can't even comprehend? And what happens to those who are taken? Let us know your theories, and until next time, keep exploring the shadows, but maybe stay out of the fog.